Welcome back to Reading Bear. Today, we will take a look at some new I Don't Work Here Lady stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
The first story is titled, I Am Not Your Uber, or Your Minicab, or a Hackney. Last weekend we went to visit some friends in North London. We took my wife's car as my EV would need 2 charges on the way, and with young kids it's just a faff we could do without. Her car is a model that I now know is very popular with various types of taxi driver in London, as it's a hybrid, and exempt from the London congestion charge. We left Islington at around 9 p.m. on Saturday evening, heading southwest towards the M25, M3 junction. Kids asleep in the back, with privacy glass, so you can't see in. At literally the first set of traffic lights we get to, someone tries to hail me. I drive on. He looks upset. 2 minutes down the road, we're about 7 to 8 cars back at some more lights, and 2 girls come skidding over on their strappy high heels and pull at the rear door handles. Luckily I always keep them locked. Unluckily, they then bang on the glass and shout, "Open the door," which wakes up my now terrified 4-year-old son. I open my window a tiny crack and shout back, "I'm not a taxi." "Yeah, I know. We ordered an Uber. It says here, black Prius." As she points at her phone. "This isn't a Prius, and I'm not your Uber," I replied. The traffic cleared and I drove off. Thinking the madness was over as we got to more major roads with fewer pedestrians, my wife has managed to calm my son down and he's nodding off again. We're on a wide dual carriageway, about 4 lanes across, doing the speed limit of 40 miles per hour when drunk man runs across and puts his hand out to stop me. It's only about 20 past 9 by this point. How he's this drunk, I don't know, but he's run across 4 lanes of traffic to hail me. I have to hammer pretty hard on the brakes. Not quite an emergency stop scenario, but pretty close. Again, I crack the window an inch and shout, "Get out of the road." "Nah mate, you're my minicab, yeah? Cab for Steve? I'm not a taxi, sorry." He's moved round to my window now, so I can just drive off. As I do, he bangs the window behind me again. Didn't wake up the boy this time, but really pissed me off. Now considering renting a car next time we go up to London to avoid the confusion. The next story is titled, Actually Lady, You're the One Who Works Here. In my area, we have a community garden that is run by volunteers, including me. It's pretty standard community garden rules. At the start of the season, you get an assigned plot and pay, you plant things there, and take care of your little garden area. If you don't plant, or don't care for your plot, you lose it to the next person on the waiting list. It's the first thing of its kind in our area, and there is a pretty long waiting list. Because our garden is run by unpaid volunteers, we have been somewhat slow to contact people whose plots have not been planted. We were almost 2 months into the season before I emailed the few errant people for the first time. Almost everyone responded immediately. There was just one empty plot that remained empty after another few weeks of emails. I actually called the number of the lady who the plot was assigned to. I will call this lady, not a gardener, or Nag for short. Nag was shocked to hear that she was in danger of losing her plot, and furious. I get it, maybe the emails weren't received, one of us should have called right away. She kept demanding to talk to the person in charge and kept asking about her vegetables and who was at fault for this negligence. I apologized again and just let her know that she needed to come and plant soon or give the plot up. I got off the phone as quickly as possible because I did not want to deal with her. I had the pleasure of meeting Nag the following weekend when I was at the garden with my 2 little kids. Nag marched over to me and with no introduction immediately started in again about the negligence and how could we be so unprofessional and where were her vegetables. She was puffy and angry, and very rude. She wouldn't let me finish a sentence and was trying to tell me she was going to get me fired from my volunteer garden position. I was trying to calm her down, but she wouldn't let me get a few words into it before she interrupted me. Finally, to get her away from my kids, I said, "Let's go and see your plot." We walked over to the area where her plot was, and it was very clear that it was the only neglected plot in the whole garden. The other plots have many plants already growing big. You can see peppers and tomatoes starting to be ready, cucumbers climbing all over the place, and a huge variety of greens and herbs. Nag's plot is dirt and weeds. Nag basically stops dead in her tracks, sputters a bit, and then her whole tone changes. She went from being angry to wailing and crying about how could we do this to her. How could we treat her like this? What had she done to us? Was it because she was new? Because she was American? Poor her. She deserved better. What about her vegetables? She really needed her vegetables. She gets a little hysterical and starts to point out plots that are grown and have vegetables, and demanding those. She even went as far as to try and grab a green tomato from the neighboring plot, but her heels slipped a little and she almost fell. This set her off more, and she is making quite a show, so others in the garden come over to check on her. As she wails on, I suddenly realize what is happening. Nag thought that the community garden meant that we were going to garden for her, and her fee at the start of the year is for us to plant her vegetables and care for her plot and harvest her veggies for her. She has been sitting at home all this time expecting vegetable deliveries. I should have figured it out sooner, but all I wanted was to not deal with her, so I wasn't paying as much attention to her as I should have. Also, the garden rules are pretty clear, and when she paid, she signed an agreement to the rules. I explained it as nicely as I could to Nag. The plots are for her to plant and grow. Her small fee only covers the cost of the land and irrigation system. If she wants the vegetables she's been demanding, she needs to plant them and care for them. It is her job, not ours. She is the one that works on her plot, not us. It takes a few tries to get this through, and luckily another volunteer is there to be with me as a backup. She, of course, gets angry again about how no one told her, but she signed the paperwork and it's all very clear there. I let her know there's some money left. If she wants her fee back, we'll give it to her and give her plot to the next person on the waiting list. She yelled at me, "That won't be necessary," which was funny because it's a polite sentence, but she said it in the rudest way possible, and she stomps off out the gate and away. The next weekend I go to the garden and surprise. Her plot is planted. And it looks great. She has a good variety and things are done neatly. There are little paver stones to walk on and tons of veggies. It turns out, she has hired a professional gardener to do her community garden plot for her and deliver the veggies. He's the best guy. He's very nice and polite and happy to talk about why the tomatoes are dying or how to add more potassium through compost. He is willing to babysit other plots if people are on vacations. He's super friendly, and it's great to run into him. He has set out seedlings for anyone to take a number of times as well. I am so happy to not have to see Nag ever again, and instead we have an awesome new friend. The next story is titled, "I Do Work Here Lady." Black Friday. This is actually an experience my grandma shared with me. Grandma is 62 and works at an outlet store that's fairly popular in our area. They can wear whatever business casual attire they like there and don't put on their name tags until they clock in. She had to open on Black Friday. They had a crowd waiting at the door. She tried to politely make her way inside and someone said, "Hey. There's a line for a reason, lady. Wait your turn." There was no line, just a crowd milling around the door. Grandma said, "Sorry, I actually work here. I'm going to go open up real quick and I'll see you inside." As she pulled out her keys. Apparently this received a sigh, eye rolls and zero cooperation. After repeating, "Excuse me, I work here. Excuse me." With her keys out as she wove her way to the door, someone else literally leaned against the door, blocking it until she reached around them and put the key in the lock. Finally she gets the door open, and as she's trying to get in they all start trying to push in past her. The lights are still off inside at this point. She has to shout, "Excuse me. We open in half an hour. You'll need to wait," and manages to get the door closed and locked behind her. No one apologized after seeing her inside working later or acknowledged their mistake. The next story is titled, "Not My Dog." Hello. I commute with my bike and I take the bus. I have been doing this for 5 years. At the end of my day, I ride to the bus stop and I stand by a tree and get my stuff ready for a few minutes before getting on the bus. On this day I was standing there and a lady, with earbuds in, came up to me screaming and waving her hands at me to take care of my dog. I was puzzled. There was a black dog walking behind her and it passed her and came over to me and sniffed my hand and was basically sweet to me. I kept telling her, "This is not my dog," over and over, and she couldn't hear it because she wouldn't take her earbuds out. SMH, she left and the dog walked around the corner to a bench. A different lady who was sitting on the bench was flipping out and screaming for me to get my dog away from her. Once again, I kept saying, "This is not my dog," over and over. As I did this though, I watched her body language and realized that she must be terrified. I asked her, "Are you afraid of dogs?" And she cried, "Yes." I calmly told her that I would keep the dog away from her, but it wasn't my dog. This dog was so nice and super friendly, no tags, but a harness. We were near a busy road and I didn't want the dog to get hit by a car. I looked around the neighborhood and saw a young girl in her car in the driveway. I asked her if she could take the dog and call animal control or something, just keep the dog safe until its owner could be found. She was so kind and the dog just loved her and she took him for me. I love animals and I kept thinking about this dog for the next 2 days, hoping that it was safe and warm, being fed and given love. Well, about 3 days later, I was at the same bus stop and I saw a nice man walking what looked like the same dog. I asked him about it and he said yes, he lost his dog a few days ago, and I told him I was the one who found it. I was so happy to know the dog made it home. The next story is titled, "Two Confused Old Ladies Think They Both Work for Each Other." Yesterday the internet in the dorm room I live in went down, and the landlady tried calling tech support. She's an old woman, 80 years, that runs the business with her daughter that was absent at the moment. I asked to help but she said she got it and wanted to try it by herself. I let her. She dials the number, puts in on speaker 'cause she can't hear very well. Another old lady answers, and the following conversation happens. Landlady equals LL. Other lady equals OLOL. Hello? LL. Yes, hello? This is, proceeds to give full name. And I live in, address. First of all, I'd like to apologize for calling so late. But I have a problem with my online computer internet. I don't know much about it, and I just wanted to ask if you have the time to help us please. OL. What? LL. Repeats what she said, this time being extra polite. OL. Internet. No honey, I don't have internet, but maybe I could consider buying some. How much does it cost? LL. Oh my, it has a cost? Well, I don't have much money, my husband is sick. I don't mean to cause trouble, but can you give us a discount? OL. It comes with a discount? That's so good. I would like to buy 2 internets please. LL. What? OL. Raising her voice, I said I would like to buy TW. Another, younger woman comes in. YW. Mom, who are you talking to? OL. Oh, this lady here is helping me buy internets at a discount. YW. What? Give me the phone. Picks up the phone. I'm sorry, but we don't want any internets in this house. Hangs up. LL. Excuse me? Turns to me. I think I got the wrong number. I tried not to laugh too hard cause I didn't want to embarrass LL, so I just picked up the phone and called the actual tech support, which by the way came a few minutes later and said that someone forgot to plug the router. When I got to my room I was crying laughing. The next story is titled, "Lady Wants Me to Move a Random Person's Stuff Off the Beach." I work as a swim instructor on a very busy beach, and our office is based in a little surf shack on the edge of the beach. The beach is really popular, and if you don't get there before about 10 in the morning most days you can forget about getting a decent spot for your stuff. So it was a little before 3 in the afternoon, when a random woman came up to the surf shack, and it looked like she was yelling, but I was a little down the beach, as I was wrapping up a class, so I couldn't hear her. I saw her and hurried over after all the students from the 2 o'clock class were safe on the beach. I instructed the class to start bringing their boards up to the shack so I could put them away. Me. Hi, my name is Op. I'm one of the instructors here. How can I help you? Lady. Finally. I've been waiting forever. I literally saw her arrive less than 20 seconds ago. Me. Customer service mode activated. Well, I'm very sorry to hear that. I was wrapping up a class and I'm the only one on duty right now. Lady. I don't need the details. Are you helping me or not? Me. Do you want to sign up for surfing lessons? Lady. No. Me. Do you want to rent some equipment? Lady. No. Me. So what can I do for you? Lady. Help me deal with this crap. She gestures to a few towels with a windbreaker, buckets and spades, a couple of bottles of drink, a board bag, everything you would need for a family day out at the beach. I'd seen the family it belonged to earlier, briefly. Parents in their mid-30s, and a couple of kids who didn't look older than 10. Me. You want me to? Lady. Help me move it. Me. Where? Lady. In there, points to the surf shack, where the students are currently dumping their boards. Me. I think there's been a misunderstanding here, this is a school, not a storage unit. Lady. Stop asking questions and just help me move it. She turns towards the stuff, and I realize she is 1, early 20s and not the mother nor the daughter of this family, and 2, carrying her own beach stuff. Me. Do you know this family? Lady. Why would I? Me. Because you want me to move their stuff. Either you know them or you're moving a stranger's stuff off the beach. Lady. Can you just shut up and do your job? You're getting paid to help people, not ask questions. Me. I'm getting paid to teach surfing, not move people's stuff. Lady. Well, what am I meant to do? All the good spots are taken. Me. Look for another spot. She stomps off after this, and I thought it was over, so I go inside to help the students with their boards. But then maybe 5 minutes later I head back towards the door and there's a pile of beach stuff right outside the door. I look over and sure enough the lady from earlier is lying on a beach towel in the exact same spot she'd indicated, with the family's possessions bundled up and left for me to look after. I didn't really see what else I could do after that. I had to stay in the surf shack and keep an eye on the current class while waiting for the other one to arrive, as I was the only person on duty. Plus, now it was on the premises, I figured it probably came under the surf shack's rule of us taking responsibility for lost or stolen items, and I didn't want anything to get nicked. I yelled to the lady but she was almost definitely pretending she couldn't hear me. The family came back a little while later, 10 or so minutes, asking why some random woman in their spot was saying I had their stuff, and I gave it to them and explained. They looked more confused than angry, but I saw the dad go over to the lady and they exchanged what looked like some less than friendly dialogue while the mum thanked me for at least making sure their stuff didn't get stolen, and she and the kids set off further up the beach. The next story is titled, Don't Mess with My Grandma, Karen. My grandmother has Alzheimer's, so she often doesn't know where she is or who is with her. I know for a fact that she has no idea who I am. Therefore I make an effort to call her Grandma multiple times in any sitting or activity we participate in. Recently, I noticed she needed her hair and nails done as the color in both those areas was fading or chipped. So I made an appointment with a family member who owns a beauty salon and took her there. Normally, customers or those waiting for someone sit in the front area and rarely accompany a person they came with inside the actual salon floor. So, I understand why assumptions were made, but still, don't mess with my grandmother. I was on the salon floor with my grandmother, sitting in a seat in front of her, while my cousin colored her hair. I was there to make sure to keep her calm and engaged while her hair and nails were being done. She was telling me the same story she had told me 10 times in the last 10 minutes, bless her heart, when I felt someone behind me. Now we were in the farthest corner of the room, not near a bathroom or wash station, so there was really no reason someone should be behind me. My grandmother stops talking and looks behind me. Grandma, chipper as ever, hi. Are you another grandchild? Karen, no I am not. And why are you not working? There is a line over there. Me. Upon realizing she is talking to me, say over my shoulder, I don't work here. Karen. Now I can believe that. You are on the floor, which means you work here. She's talking to me condescendingly and I do not take that sort of tone well. Neither does my grandmother. In a moment of clarity, I watch that bright chipper smile fall and a glimpse of my brainiac grandmother peek through. I shoot a warning glance at my cousin who is pursing her lips to keep from laughing prematurely. Grandma. Well, by your own logic my dear, you must be a worker. Go get me a new Coke, would you? That's a good honey bunch. Karen starts sputtering and my grandma laughs. The chipper look returns to her face and she says, Hi, are you one of my grandchildren? As Karen stomps off in her loud high heels, my grandma turns and says, loudly, I guess not. My grandchildren are not idiotes. Oh my god, I love my grandma. I don't know where Karen went, I wasn't really paying attention after that. The next story is titled, I laughed in a woman's face. I was in Sephora on Thursday afternoon looking for presents for my sisters. I had my wallet, phone, and items in my hands and I was wearing earbuds. I cut a lady off when turning out of an aisle, so I apologized and smiled before starting to walk away. A few seconds later she's right next to me and staring straight at me, so I took out an earbud and said, excuse me? She asks if I work there and I say, no, sorry. I start to put my earbud back in. I take my podcasts very seriously. When she looks me dead in the eye and says, well fine then, idiot. Before I knew what was happening I let out a snort of laughter. It started in my nasal passage and ended in the back of my throat. She was shocked. I was shocked. It was loud and unexpected. Fortunately, if you've ever been in a Sephora, you know the employees are on you like a bloodhound. I just kept laughing as an employee escorted her away. IDK if it was the week I'd had, the stress of the upcoming holidays, or me being desensitized due to lurking on this sub, but that laugh was one of the most therapeutic things to happen to me in a while. Bless you, Sephora Karen. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.